What's up, y'all? Peace. Just gather my bearings here. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? What's the vibes? Let me turn this down. Make sure I got my notes. We're going to get started in just a second. What's up to everybody in the chat room? Okay, I can't find it. That's fine. I have this. I have this. I have my tea. Peace and love, everybody. How you doing? H-Town, what's good? Chris, peace. Tamika, how you doing, Queen? Boss man. I heard that. El Jefe. Working on my Spanish. I'm going to be bilingual in a minute. Y'all ain't going to know what to do. I'm going to be doing Walk With Me in Machu Picchu in Spanish. Y'all going to be reading me on the screen. All right. Let me check. I need to check this lighting real quick to see if I need this ring light or not. So y'all just bear with me 1 second. I know it's a Friday evening. You guys could be in a lot of places, and perhaps you'll be turning up when we finish this conversation, but I'm very grateful to have you here with me. Just want to check one more thing. I try to do everything I can and not have to use the ring light, especially with my background, what it is right now. There's going to be a reflection. So let me just take a second. I think I can do without it. Yeah, that's much better. All right. What's up, family? Uh-oh, the queen is in the building. What's up? What's up, Queen Diva? How you doing, Queen? Thank you so much for being with me, my ride or die. Hang on. Okay. It's been a minute since I did this in this type of setting. How do I bring myself up? Okay, I'm there. I need to turn on my camera. Duh. What's up, family? Peace, peace, Jesse. How you doing? What's up, y'all? A tear. What's good? Peace and love. Red Hawk. What's going on? Got some Skywalker. What's up, love? Peace and love, everybody. Chris, I think I shouted you out already, but what's good? How you doing? Richie Rich. That sounds like some Oakland language. What's going on? Do we know each other? I am Freedom. What's up? Peace and love, family. How y'all doing? Welcome to another edition of Town Hall Conversations, Town Hall Talks with ZaZa Ali. This is an ongoing once a month meeting that I have with my members so that we could come together and talk about whatever is going on in the world. And I have created a link where my members can join me live. And any of you guys that actually want to join me in this conversation, you can. You're just going to have to email me and I will shoot you the link. I don't want to post the link publicly because I'm trying to, keep it a little bit less open to the public and a little bit more mediated. I doubt it if my ops are going to send me an email for a link. But anybody that wants to join in on this conversation, and if you wanted to join in on our conversations before about something that we talked about and wanted to actually be heard, now would definitely be the time. I rescheduled the book club meeting to February 1st because it was just too much going on the week of January 11th. And I just could not publicly do any content at that point. So we are going to do that live as well here on YouTube, YouTube, the book club meeting, which is Mastery Through Accomplishment by Hazrat Inayat Khan. So this video and the book club meeting and all of the content that I've been posting, town hall talks, book club meeting, the group meditation, which I'm also going to do on YouTube, and we're going to do an emphasis on the science of breath and breathing methodologies, if you will, or breathing regimens. But all of this is to support a campaign that I am running right now to sell 500 copies or 500 passes, of an annual membership to the ZaZa Ali membership channel. And so everything that I'm showing you guys, my walk with me, that's another series we do. I'm working on Headline News episode 67. I'm also going to be doing a multiple video series called Hollywood, the finale. And I actually was planning on doing that since last year. So the fact that everything just happened the way that it happened to start this year off was kind of like God nudging me, like, yeah, I keep telling you, you need to, get it out of your brain and put it out into the world. So I'm working on that as well. But all of this content is what I do on my membership channel. This is the stuff I talk about. This is the level of conversation. We have a membership cipher where all of our members can join by app or use their desktop and engage and share information and talk and all that good stuff, as well as join me live in this conversation today. So the link is in the description to get access to that pass. Is actually $50 for an annual membership. It's not a subscription. It won't renew. You'll have access to all of my content for 12 months, which equates to $4.16 per month for 12 months. So I'm asking for the support of my followers, my tribe, to help me to get the capital that I need to be able to really put ancient people out into the world the way that I really want to. I have now split the book into 4 different books, and this is something else I've been working on in the background. I have a hardcover version that doesn't have the spiral spine and that doesn't have the workbook included. So it's just what I call the reader version, just the reading as well as the crosswords and the word search puzzles. And then the workbook version has just all of the textbook workbook aspect in terms of spelling, grammar, Q&A, critical thinking, notes, all of that different type of stuff, alphabetical order, all of that is in the workbook version. So you have the hardcover without the spine, then you have the hardcover with the spiral spine, then you have the paperback with the spiral spine, but it's the reader version, and then you have the workbook version. So, and that's, I think, important for like families or parents that are homeschooling. You can purchase one reader version textbook and then purchase multiple workbooks of the text that go to accompany the textbook. And so you can run your homeschooling curriculum that way, purchase multiple books or just purchase one and then have multiple textbooks. So I'm really excited about this conversation today, to have this live. I always want to be able to get live interaction from you guys. The chat room is one thing, but if you want to join us, I have the link where you can come in the background. I have to email it to you. I just don't want to post it publicly. But if you email me, info@zazaali.com, I will send you the link directly, and then you can join us and we can talk about it. What else did I need to announce? Oh, putting love out into the world. All right, so another thing that we do in my membership channel is ongoing challenges. I haven't done one in a while, actually. I think the last one I did was a yoga one because I've just been busy with all this other stuff. But the challenge of putting love out into the world. So for like a 2-week time period, I'll challenge the members to go out and do something good for somebody else that doesn't have anything to do with them, no agenda, no attachment, no what am I going to get in return, but just to actually go out in the world and do something good for somebody else. And so I want to challenge you guys, because technically all of you guys are members for the next until February 7th. That's the timeline I'm going to be running this campaign. So technically right now, all of you guys are members. So let's do the full throttle challenges as well. So I want to challenge you guys, as well as all of the members in my channel, to do something over the next 2 weeks to put love out into the world with no expectations in return. We need to raise the love vibration. We need to raise the love energy on this planet and be intentional about it. So here's what I'm offering. What I'm going to do. I told you guys I have the January 25th event in LA as Soul Folks. Still having that. I'm going to remix it from what my original intention was, and I'm going to offer it open to the public. So all my family out in Los Angeles, you guys can come and join me and hear me speak and do this lecture presentation, A Divine New World Order. Hopefully we can get into some of that today. Everything we're talking about at this point, in my opinion, is about the Divine New World Order. But I'm going to open the event up to the public. Those of you guys who have purchased tickets or who do purchase tickets, because I still have some of those available, we're going to do a private dinner before the public part of the event. So we'll get together before the doors open and we will break bread. We're going to have a delicious plant-based meal and just have a meeting of the minds and connect before we open the doors, and then everybody will be able to come. What I'm asking you guys to do, particularly my audience, if you would like to join and have a free ticket or free access, I'm going to post the link. I meant to do it before and I forgot. I'm going to post the link to get ticket access. And I just want you guys to download tickets so I can have an idea of how many people we're going to be expecting. So space and everything, the logistics, the seating, all of that can be thought out. So if you're listening to this and you want to come January 25th, and you want to get free access without the dinner, you can either email me at info@ZaZaAli.com or stay tuned to my videos, my content. I'll come back and put it in the description where you can get access to download the free ticket. That just gives me an idea of head count to see, to have the logistics in mind. All right. So with all of that being said, the topics that I am proposing that we discuss today, and we could talk about anything, but the Trump inauguration obviously is looming. So there's that. And then the Los Angeles fires, which is here in the backdrop of where I am, which has been in the backdrop for the past 9 days now. I think we're at, right? It's the 17th. No, 10 days now. It started on the 7th. I realized the other day in the live, or maybe it wasn't the live, one of them, but the irony that the fires started on January 7th of 2025, and that the alleged war over in Palestine started on December 7th. So that's 1717. That's just something that I don't know why I'm saying that, because it's been sticking in my head ever since I thought about it. So Trump inauguration, LA fires, and then the video that I did, When Family is the Matrix. I'm writing notes, so y'all bear with me. When Family is the Matrix. That video got such a large response. It was, I think it's at 11,000 views right now. A lot of people really, really resonated with that message. And particularly, I was so thankful to everybody that left a testimony about their experience, right? With their families being the black sheep, trauma, et cetera, et cetera. People got real deep in the comments. And I read all those comments, and I haven't had a chance to go back and respond to all of them because I've just been in creating content mode. But I am going to respond to you guys. But I want to open the floor for anybody that shared or that wants to share in terms of their particular experiences. And then I also want to open the floor for us to really hone in on that conversation about when family is the matrix. Can you relate to that? Does it make sense? Is it in alignment with your experience? I've, told you guys before I gave you guys some insight into my family background. Before I get into that though, let me just say thank you to all you beautiful souls. I am actually so fascinated by the fact that I did a live the other day. Oh my God. I did a live the other day for 7 hours and 40 minutes. Even when I say it out loud, it sounds crazy. And I actually did not intend on talking that long. I was thinking like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I was, not having the best day because I was still dealing with all of the pressure and stress of being in this environment and everything that's going on. And Spirit just told me to sit down and turn the camera on and have the conversation and break the ice, so to speak. And I knew that it would be therapeutic for me, but I didn't realize how therapeutic and dope of an experience it would be for everybody else. So in the midst of the conversation, me engaging with the chat, me being a chatterbox, me, giving you guys a glimpse of the 20,000 things that could be going through my brain at any given moment. I ended up talking for 7 hours and 40 minutes. And if I was arrogant, I would stand up and give myself a standing ovation, but I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But I'm just saying, like, that was a boss ass kind of situation. I have to make sure that I pay homage to the streaming gods, So I'm so grateful to everybody that's watched that. I got some people through work. Some people fell asleep to us and then woke up and we were still, going at it. Pause. That can be taken in multiple different ways if we don't want to do that. But that was a dope experience. My homegirl told me that it was like we all went to the club together, hung out, and then went to a diner afterwards and ate together and just had a real good, time and experience. And I have fun too. So thank you guys that have watched that video. And if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. I've seen a lot of small clips of it that people have shared on YouTube. So I'm going to start sharing those miniature clips because I was actually dropping some jewels. I can't front. You know what I mean? It was the spirit was definitely flowing through me. And we had jokes, we had laughs. We had to turn up on the divine feminine energy. So it was a whole vibe and a whole situation. So thank you guys for that. I think I made all of my announcements. How long did it take to make announcements? 15 minutes? Okay. So Trump inauguration, the fires in Los Angeles, which I've done multiple videos about for context of that. And that Malibu video that I just posted was not recent. That is from January 15th, ironically, almost a year to date. January 15th, 2024, I was walking Malibu, doing a Walk With Me episode, and that's when that video was. And so for me to watch it, I was working. I didn't listen to myself because I started listening to myself and trying to edit myself. Like, nah, that already happened a year ago. You can't do that. But as I was watching it in the background, I just had the video playing, and it was so surreal to see all of these beautiful homes that I have walked past so many times, taking that specific path that I was on. It was so surreal because I've watched the footage many times, and I even have a video. I might do a side by side of that Malibu area and exactly where I was walking, a driver passing, recording all of those videos. And like a lot of those houses have just completely been wiped off the map. It's so astonishing. And there's no way you can tell me that is a natural disaster. There's no way that you can tell me that was started in an arson. There's no way that you can tell me that even the smart meters argument. I mean, I understand why people are saying that because there's a lot of evidence that smart meters are catching fire and that they're dangerous, right? But a smart meter is not going to burn a property to ash, especially not a 5,000, 10,000 square foot home. So the homes where you see the smart meters have been have caught on fire, you can see the trajectory of the fire, right? The device catches on fire. You'll see blackness along, a certain wall. Like I've seen plenty of evidence for how properties look as a result of the smart meter fire. Now, have I seen a property that's completely burned, caught completely on fire because of a smart meter? No. But I'm saying all of that to say, even a smart meter is not going to burn a house to a crisp. Okay. So I'm going to do an expose about this because I have to. It's just burning in my spirit. I'm going to do an expose about it. I even posted in the membership channel a 25-minute video directing, in terms of what I think is going on in relative to it. But so that when the family is the matrix and the Trump inauguration. So I'm going to have a sip of my tea, and Deba and Chris, if you guys want me to bring you up, I can. Actually, I'm going to unmute your mic. I'm going to bring you up, Deba, because your camera's not on. And then I'm going to unmute your mic. Chris, are you good being on camera? Just give me a head nod. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I'll add Chris to the conversation, Deba, and I will let either one of you go first. You have the floor.
Hello.
Peace.
Greetings, Queen.
How you doing?
Queens.
Hello.
What's on your mind?
Well, mom is in the hospital, so I'm just trying to, I'm a caregiver, so you know how that could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the situation with your mom? How's she doing?
Oh, she's in her 80s. Her heart, legs, and feet are swollen really, really bad because she has to elevate her legs.
Mm.
So they're getting ready to do an ultrasound right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We send our love and definitely well wishes for her, her health and well-being, and that you can maintain, you know what I mean, the right type of energy and perspective about it to help her get through that.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'm so thankful for you guys. It's good to just be connected with y'all and listen to you talk. So that's
yeah.
comforting within itself.
Yes, much
Yeah.
love. I feel like that too. And even when I had that conversation the other day, I was like, wow, I really needed that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to know that people are listening, to be able that back and forth engagement, and seeing how people are feeling about it and thinking about what's going on in the world. Like, nah, it's not just me. There's a lot of like-minded people in the world that are trying to figure this out and maintain our sanity in the process,
Yeah, and I love your walks too. I miss those walks when you walk out there. It's so beautiful out there.
Yeah, I think Laguna Beach is probably going to be next, especially because it's further down south. So I would imagine the air is going to be a little bit more crisp there. So I'm thinking about doing Laguna Beach sometime this coming week, and I'll be
Make
posting
sure, make sure you wear a mask out there. Are you smelling any toxic
I
air? Are
have
you?
today. I was. I have been out. I haven't really been going outside a lot. The air was a lot more. It felt cleaner a couple of days ago, but today I was out, and yeah, it was not a good. It wasn't smelling like strong fire like before, but it's not like crisp, clean air. It's like you breathing in some type of particulates, toxins, whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're breathing in everything that burn. Everything in those houses that burn is what you're breathing in. So wear your mask or something. I don't know. Just be
I have a
careful.
face covering. I'm definitely gonna have it on for sure.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Protect yourself. Mm-hmm.
Deba, you want to chime in on this conversation, Queen?
Yes. Now I'm just gonna tell you, I'm on the East Coast, so I woke up and saw your live went almost 8 hours. I was like, oh my goodness, you had a lot to say.
That was insane. I still can't believe it. That was insane. But yeah, I guess time really does fly when you're having fun.
Well, I'm glad you allowed yourself to just uh purge, and talk, because you always about time. I've been here on here an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see you just allowed the spirit to move you and move through you. And I haven't been able to listen back to it, but I will.
Okay.
But I'm just super it's just interesting how this is playing out. I think you meant that the war in Palestine started October the 7th. Is that what you
I
that
said
what you meant?
Palestine. That one was October 7th, yeah, of 2024. Maybe I said
Yeah.
and January 7th was
So yeah, that 1/7 is still that 1/7. You're 100% right.
yeah.
Same energy, but
And
my thing.
I know people think when people say stuff like that it's like the numeric aspect is not really, relative, but like this is how they talk to each other in their, you know, in their events and their movements and the things that they do. They send each other messages, and sort of stamp their work. So
Through numbers. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So, but for me, the gematria has to be backed up with, like, you know what I mean, something significant to make it make sense. I can't just
Oh,
use
sure.
the numbers, you know.
For sure, for sure, for sure. You know, speaking of numbers, you know, the plan of all of this stuff, I'm just gonna get right into it. What's been plaguing me talking about the matrix and the numbers is, you know, Trump just pulled the same thing that was pulled during the Iran Contra with Reagan. You know, Carter dies. Trump did the same thing with the peace ceasefire and Netanyahu. Now everybody's saying only Trump could have made this deal to do this ceasefire. And you know, it's just playing out what happened with Reagan and Carter during the Iran Contra, the hostages that was released, you know, that Reagan negotiated when Carter was going out. You know, at the same time you're burying President Carter, and then we're going to have the inauguration on January the 20th, the same day we're that, you know, they're honoring MLK Day, even though his birthday was on the 15th. We could have celebrated his birthday on Monday. We didn't have to have it the same day as the inauguration, but you know, they're speaking to themselves even on how they're placing all of these different events right now, you know. um it's just really obvious, like if you really are able to, you know, follow events in history, which I love about you, Zaza, just being able to break down, you know, historically what happened. But even if you follow these events in history, you see they still playing this, you know, the same games on us every day. And
Yeah.
it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats, Republicans. I keep telling people we just had good cop, bad cop played on us because, you know, the same energy that they give, you know, like they play that energy against us, you
Yeah.
know. So everybody was rallying for Kamala when the whole time they was planning this whole thing. It's obvious because of how these events are aligning. Like they had to schedule the inauguration and MLK Day on the same day a long time ago to throw it in our face that you're going to bring in the most, you know, non-civil rights president in the office at the same time that you're bastardizing, you know, everything that MLK worked for. So it's
Well, yeah,
just
and to your point, you know, about the MLK thing, this goes back to what I'm always talking about in terms of them harnessing energy. They have to have a host to be powerful. So the alignment of MLK Day, who was an original man, you know what I'm saying, who was a powerful man. Yeah, he ended up being corrupted and, you know what I mean, being dissuaded, I'll say, if that's the right word, but like the frequency of Martin Luther King, for it to still be relevant, to still be powerful in this timeline, lets us know that he had a strong vibrational resonance, right? So the alignment of those 2 days is to continue to harness on that energy. It's that attaching yourself to an organic frequency, so to speak. That's why Pac is still so relevant in these times right now, because the signal and the frequency has been so diluted and is so weak in terms of the music, right, the culture, that those strong vibrational beings are still being energetically harnessed to this day, right? And I'm with you in terms of like the whole Trump, like I mean, this guy, they done turned this dude, I told y'all this is a movie. They done turned this dude into Superman, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Captain America, all of your favorite predominant, you know, alpha male characters. They're like taking bits and pieces from all of these stories. And so now he's getting ready to stop the TikTok ban. He's the red dye, the what else was it? It's something else. The red dye, oh, the ceasefire, like you said. I'm getting ready to do I'm glad you said it, because it just made me think of something. I'm going to do a video called My Gift to White America. I'm going to do this on behalf of the campaign that I'm running right now. Make sure you guys support. And I'm also going to do it just because it's necessary and needs to be done. I was in a conversation, somebody, you know how on the feed on Instagram you get, suggestions. There's somebody I don't follow, but it's a page that, says something, the algorithm pays attention to what you like. And so, it was something dealing with something in the conspiracy realm, talking about, government or something to that effect. Nothing like super bad or anything. It was just one of those regular memes. And so I liked it. And then I clicked in the conversation, and the first comment I see is that's because 13% of the population is responsible for 54% of the crime. I'm sorry, what? I was like, okay, maybe he's not talking about who's the 13%. And I already know in my mind who the 13% is, right? But I'm just like, why would you say that? This is not even like, there wasn't anything provocative in the post to warrant you making this about race. And lo and behold, I start scrolling up the comments, and they just going in. Like, all of America's problems are based around Black people in America. And so I politely addressed this guy, and I'm going to read, when I do this video, I'm going to read my response to him. But I just, reminded all of us, and I'm going to remind us now, that when we look at the main purveyors of putting poison in the arms and in the bodies, and I'm talking about physical poison, and not just one way, but like 50 ways, in the physical bodies of the citizens of this country alone, and how much death and disease that has caused, the main purveyors of that has been white men. When we look at the in terms of all of the money that's got missing, and we talked about the Pentagon and the billions of dollars just gone missing, the all of the different systems of the overhead of government and all these criminal entities that are operating, whether it's Ukraine being talking about Ukraine being a money laundering situation, right? All this money that's being moved and stolen and natural resources being raped and robbed, that's being done by white men. It doesn't mean they don't have some random little kids in the Congo, stealing, not stealing, mining gold and copper. But so the criminal element, the serial killer element, right? The PDF file element, right? But the difference is the government and the systems are not set up to actually pursue and send you to justice. So that's why you're so successful with all of your mischief. I'm a crime. I like to watch crime documentaries. I've always been fascinated by serial killers. Since I was young, I still am. What happens in the brain of a person to become that, where killing becomes exciting and something that you want to do. But what, 95% of the serial killers are white? That's why we're always so up in arms when there's like one random Black dude. Like, how is this even possible? So I'm just saying, I'm going to do a video called A Gift to White America. And pardon me, Dee, because I just went on a tangent. But I'm going to do a video called My Gift to White America. Is going to be my gift to all of you guys in this campaign to really set the record straight about some things. Sundown Town exists in America. There's places in America where Black people cannot go after dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, to your point about, I'm going to take it back to, I posted something on Facebook about Karen Bass. So when I lived in Los Angeles, I used to rock with her, my advocacy for housing homeless people. She was over an organization before she ran for Congress, and, and just how they're dragging her, I mean, I understand in order to get in certain echelons of this society, you can only do so much for your people, but just how they're dragging her. And I'm like, you're dragging this woman, but you've been raping California. You've been raping these lands all this time, and now the land is giving you back fire, giving you back heat. You know, you've been fracking in California. All of the aquifers and all of the lakes are all depleted of water, and and you're gonna drag this woman, because of some DEI stuff. It's like they're, now that we're in position, they're gonna put the burning house down on us, as black women, as black people. And I just feel like, we forever gonna be the kicking boy, kicking girl, kicking animal, whatever they want to call us for this country. We built this country. They took credit for what we built. Most of the things that we've done over, just out of necessity for everything that they had us do. Like, in the Bible, when they talk about they had the Hebrews making brick out of straw and water, you know what I'm saying? And then they took away the straw and they still made them fill their quota. Everything that we needed to do to, on the end of a whip, on the end of a gun, on the end of dogs, to build this country. They took credit for it. They took the patents for it. They continue to rape this country. And then they want to dump all that coal on us. I'm really sick and tired of it. I'm really sick and tired of it.
No, I appreciate you for you know what I mean, expressing that, because a lot of people feel the same, right? And my whole sentiment about the video, doing the video, because I just referenced a couple of the comments, but like I'm reading and seeing these people's comments and the way that they're responding, and like just all this super anti-black energy. It's not just racism, it's like very particularly anti-black, right? And so even with Karen Bass, and she's somebody politically that I don't really agree with at all. I've said it before, this, that I'm not anybody that was pushing that shot. Well, I don't care what race they are. Like, I will never, unless they come back and totally refute that position, will never support somebody in politics or anything for that matter. But she, like all politicians, is the face to be able to, for everybody to have somebody to scream at. Just like Gavin Newsom right now is the face for everybody to have somebody to scream at. In New York, Eric, what's the dude's name?
Adams.
Young mayor. Eric Adams is the face and the name for everybody to have somebody to scream at. Diddy is the face and the name and the representation for everybody to have somebody to scream at. Now, the caveat is that all of our people that I mentioned, and all of us, we align ourselves with certain type of energies when we go in these spaces. That's why I would never run for politics. You know what I mean? Because you're either gonna hit a wall and have to leave in order to build something powerful and concrete, or you're gonna have to slowly but surely compromise yourself and compromise your original agenda in order to fit into those spaces, right? But I do appreciate and value and respect people that go into politics, because we need to be in all of those spaces. But it's just par for the course, especially when you talk about the federal government, which is especially when it comes to Trump, right? And the Republican Party and this energy, this anti-black, racist, haughty, which when I was in Atlanta in Georgia, the first time Trump was elected, or he was selected then, let's be clear, he didn't win the popular vote. He actually won the Electoral College, but everybody thinks he's the glitch in the matrix. I find that so fascinating. But, the DEI conversation is just so fascinating to me. And I talked about this in the live. Diversity, equity, inclusion, which is another word for, I heard somebody say it was another word for the NIGGA word, and that's part of it. And then it's also like, if you want to pinpoint all the problems and make it look like black politicians, black, professors, black teachers, black everything are the reason that, American politics or local politics or whatever it is, the clown culture, right? Which that's more so Democrats, actually is both. But if DEI is a real thing based on you used affirmative action to get a position or a job or a scholarship or into a school that you weren't actually qualified for, that somebody else was more qualified for, based on the fact that you're a black woman or Asian or et cetera, whoever was benefiting. Obviously, we're particularly focusing on black people. But if you used affirmative action and DEI legislation and you were not as qualified and you only got in because of your race, that's what all of this hoopla is about, then how do we pinpoint and and emphasize the eons and eons of white men in particular, but white men and women who have gotten in position of power as judges, as teachers, as presidents, as you know what I mean, positions of authority in this country, who were never as adequate, who were always second or third fiddle. I don't mean all of them. Sure, there are some excellent white people working in different segments of industry, absolutely. But to not acknowledge the fact, especially when we're in 2025, looking at California, everybody's blaming Gavin Newsom. No, these problems have been going on in California for a very long time. These problems in America have been going on for a very long time. The whole argument about red dye, right? And yes, it's a good thing that this move was made. It's a good sign, so to speak. But the law isn't even going to go into effect until 2027. So we've got 2 years now for these people to continue selling poison to children that you've already come forward and admitted that is connected to cancer. So I'm saying, like, this inadequate, mediocre white male representation in America that's always been at the forefront has been because you set up systems for that to be the case. The same way, if 54% of the crime is being done by 13% of the population, aka Black America, that's only because your judges and your people in positions of authorities and your police officers, right? And all of the people that are regulating how society and the prison industrial complex work, that's because they're not trying to find you. They're not looking for you. They're not checking for you. What would the statistics really be if it was fair? So if diversity, equity, inclusion is a problem because we're using that to bring Black people to the forefront in business and in society, then Caucasian equity inclusion is too. And you have like 100-year head start. And I'm only saying 100 years because over the 500-year period, there was a lot of crazy, savage, chaotic things happening to white people in this country too. So I needed to get that off my chest because I'm telling you, I'm reading this language in this conversation, and I've been emphasizing that we're in a post-race world because we are. Consciousness creates reality. The physical reality has to catch up. Everything is created in the mind. So we're already, intellectually, mentally, spiritually, we're already creating through the energy that we experienced last month and today, creating the world that's going to be here 6 months from now, a year from now. So, but it's important right now in this moment that we stop letting this slick shit, this weird shit pass. Whether it's white people or Black people, like there has to be some spiritual discernment and some like warrior energy in these spaces where this super right-wing Christian, element that's alive in this country gets put in its proper perspective. And that's what I'm here for, Just a second before you say anything, Diva, if you guys want to join us, you can email me at info@ZaZaAli.com. I'll send you the link, and you can join us either by video or by audio as Diva is joining us. I've been wanting to open up the floor for you guys to talk. So if you're in the chat room, I'm going to try to get through the chats and read some of the comments. But if you actually want to join the conversation, send me an email to info@ZaZaAli.com, and I'll send you the link. Also, this is a 1.5 hour presentation, not presentation. I'm so used to presentations. This is a 1.5 hour show that we do. So I'm not going to talk all day, and I want to make sure we talk about everything. It's 6:52 now, and we're going to be ending right around the 7:30 mark. I do want to, in terms of the family matrix, when family is the matrix, I wanted to come back to that and get you guys' perspective. Maybe if you're just in the chat room, if you want to drop some, your perspective or whatever, I'll read it. But I just want to come back to that because it's so important and relative to this timeline that we're living in right now in 2025, where like the NPC element, the follower element, the do what you're told element, the comply element, the mandate element, the obey element, like we're being inundated with all of these subtleties to get us to either compromise our integrity or to conform to very evil and wicked agendas. So we got to be really on top of our game mentally, spiritually, and emotionally so that we can create that armor of God, which is that buffer to keep that type of shit away from us. So that Agent Smith energy, right? That demonic energy, that low vibrational energy. The way that we create that buffer is how we think, how we feel, how we eat, how we live, and how we breathe. That's my self-made sort of definition for what frequency is or what vibration is, right? So for the those of us that have taken accountability and responsibility, the 5% of the 5%, the 144,000, the true and living gods, the children of the Most High God, the children of the Son, whatever it is that you want to call it, it's going to be a combination of Muslims, of Christians, of Buddhists, of people that come from the Eastern thought, people that are non-religious, that only practice spiritual practices. The 5% of the 5% is going to be from a lot of different denominations, a small number of people, but very clear and very focused on self-awareness, self-mastery, and on building the kingdom of God. So I want to emphasize that point to you guys, especially when we talk about when family is the matrix, because to me, that seems to be one of the key ingredients for, and I'm talking about now in particular, 2025, all the consultations I've done, all the studying and research, all of the in my being out into the world, in my observation and study, there's something about growing up in environments where you are not properly loved, where you are not receiving that righteous divine guidance that all of us are supposed to have, that adversarial sort of energy comes from your family that cultivates a certain type of temperament that has prepared us for this moment. And that's the microcosm in terms of us as individuals. But then the macrocosm for Black people in America in particular is that we were shaped and formed in very particular conditions and a very particular experience without the connection to our forefathers and foremothers, without the connection to our history, without the connection to our culture. I know all of us weren't born in Africa. I know of a lot of us were born here. But a lot of us that were born here were also put through different levels of imperialism, injustice, abuse, right? Being sold on the auction blocks. A lot of the things that the slaves experienced, the people who were indigenous to this land experienced as well, right? And that's why a lot of us, again, are in this space of trying to find ourselves in the midst of this matrix and this insanity and this chaos. So it is my perspective in terms of the healers, in terms of the intellectuals, in terms of the creators of a new paradigm of consciousness, so to speak. We all come from a womb, not we all, many of us come from a womb experience in our lives that has made us have to process not feeling loved, have to process trauma, having to process lack of support, having to process lack of people supporting you in your true authentic self, right? I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm talking about spirituality, helping you to move and navigate in the world from who you really are opposed to who they want you or project on you to be, right? And so the alchemy, because our responsibility now is to alchemize the situation, right? Because a lot of people who come from those traumatic experiences don't make it into self-awareness, don't make it into self-love, right? Don't make it into, okay, I know who I am, I'm ready to hit the ground running and be my highest and best self. A lot of those people get stuck on drugs. They get stuck in marriages and relationships that they hate. They get stuck in, race-based consciousness, the limitation, politics-based, like all of the dichotomies of this world. They get stuck in their lower nature and they never actually get to alchemize the experience. So the importance of the conversation is that our goal is to be intentional about alchemizing the experience. I have alchemized the experience of not being raised by my mother. I have alchemized the experience of not having that feminine, matriarchal, womanly perspective as an infant and then a child and then a teenager and then a 20-something-year-old woman, and then like trying to find my way with no consistent female guardian and guide, right, to show me the ropes of life, so to speak. But the alchemizing of that is, that's why I can sit here and have this conversation with you guys and be so clear and concise about what I'm talking about. Right? So, going from damn, I didn't have this, damn, this was difficult, damn, this isn't fair, and it wasn't fair, and it's never fair. But alchemizing that context and that experience, and turning that into, there's a lot of women in the world that haven't had healthy, organic, uplifting relationships with other women. I need to start creating content. I need to start creating conversations. I need to start setting an example for another level of womanhood in terms of how we engage and act with one another, first and foremost through self-love, right? Because that's the key to it all. But I'm saying my experience with my mother, or lack thereof, has absolutely at this point, and I'm not saying it's not still, a thing, right? I'm saying that the wisdom and the alchemy of that experience now is that I mother people all over the world. I ain't your mama. Don't, you know what I'm saying? That's, even when people say auntie, I'd be like, auntie, I don't know. Cuzzo might be a little bit better for me. Cuzzo, bruh, OG, I take OG. But, I mother people all over the world, and I'm saying that from the matriarchal vantage point, not from the I'm your mama type of vibration, right? So that's alchemy. Even for the brothers, all the young men and men watching who didn't grow up with their fathers, and then they become the best fathers in the world. That's alchemy. You know what I mean? Transmuting and alchemizing the difficulty of those experiences and turning it into gold, into spiritual gold, into heart gold, So let me get off my soapbox. I'm going to check my email and see if anybody wants to join us, and I'll give you guys a second if you want to add anything. And
I wanted to say something.
I'm gonna check the chat too, and if anybody wants to add anything in the conversation, I'll read your comments, or you can drop it in the chat again. Okay, please do.
Well, this is Chris. Let me know when I can say something. I'm just wanting you to know you touched on all of the points. You have touched on everything without me having to say anything.
Thank you.
I think you could just keep on leading and taking us into the different higher vibrations, so we don't get stuck in the gaslighting and all the other bullshit that's going on, and we can just focus on everything that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And especially some more yoga. If you can start doing a little yoga movement, I love the walks. I don't know if you're going to be out there walking, but if we could start doing some yoga for my healing and my trauma.
Put up some yoga videos on. I actually have one yoga video on my YouTube. I'll put some up for. Oh, wait a minute, I'm messing up.
And some breath work.
The next group meditation is going to be all about breath work. I got your message, Clem. I'm sending you the link now. I'm going to put those up in the membership channel for sure, upcoming, and then the yoga challenges as well.
Thank you.
You said something else I wanted to address, and then I just lost my train of thought. Dang it. Dee, you want to say anything? You want to add on?
Well, I was just thinking about like the unmothered mother, as you was talking about, you not being raised by your mother, and even some of us who are raised by our mothers, but yet our mothers are so traumatized by their mothers that it just carries down a legacy of mothers not working their own thing out and continuing that kind of female trauma that we carry amongst ourselves, which makes it difficult for females to really bond in an intentional way, because we all have that scarring that we have to alchemize, as you put it. I really like how you put it that way, because intentionally, as a mother, of a daughter, and having my mother issues over the last year, I've been intentionally working on really facing facing my childhood self through how I mother my daughter, and then not continuing to hold um uh my mother, hold her in punitive captivity because she only could do what she could do, and she broke the chains of certain things that came from her upbringing but couldn't break the others. Just like my daughter will have that same calling on her life to alchemize the things that, in that I could only manage to break, or not break, in mothering her.
Yeah.
But as long as we continue generationally to heal the trauma and give the love, and this being the divine time of the divine feminine, I think even in the brothers that were mothered by single mothers, that have a certain, loss, or a certain way a mother mothers a man,
Yeah.
which doesn't always give him his full wholeness, because he needs a man to show him the way, but mothers try to overcompensate for that. This being a divine feminine, I think that us individually alchemizing that experience that we have with our mothers and being and healing the child within us, I think is going to take us further into the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And thank you so much for sharing that, because especially the part about how you mother your daughter, and changing the trajectory through that experience. And I know now that, to me, when was the changing point when I had my son. And even when he was about 6 months old, and I don't know if I said this publicly, I've definitely said this in my membership channel. I went into what I could only equate to a deep depression, because I realized at that point, no, he was probably one. I went through probably a depression for about maybe a year. I don't like to use that word because it tethers you to a lot of other stuff, but that's likening it to a depression, because I realized how much I didn't have. And he's just an infant, he, at that point, he was 1 year old. So I only had 1 year of history with him to always have to be there, always have to do everything, like his sole caretaker, and everything that is accountable for his life I had to do. And it dawned on me that I never had anybody to do that for me. And it was soul crushing. I was so sad for myself, for as a little girl, not as a grown up. And I didn't even realize. I'm saying this now when I look back at it, because hindsight is always 2020. But that was also when it was a strange thing, because being a mother helped me to experience what I didn't have. Right. So yeah, I didn't have a mother that I could, relate this, and that to, but I did have a son who I could relate this, and that to. Right. And I knew that I was worried, like, am I messing him up? You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm doing this right. I'm learning on the job, but I know now for sure. And this is definitely something I want to share, especially to single parents, not just single mothers, but like single parents that are, trying to do it on their own. And because it is a 2-parent job. For one, as a woman, I always made sure that I had powerful men around my son. I in terms of his tutor, if he had a tutor, if he had a basketball coach, if he was involved in some arts and craft project, I always made sure that he was involved in things that there was a lot of masculine energy. I was always playing Minister Farrakhan in the car, or Malcolm X, or something that was that masculine energy, that was balanced, but that was like providing that sort of frequency and perspective. And I would encourage, whether you're a single mother or a single father, that you use that intention, right? Having masculine books, books by men that you think are powerful and are dope. My son just read The Way of the Superior Man by David Dita. Now he's reading 50 Cent's 50 Laws of Power. He's like on this major reading tangent. And you go back and look at some of my content. I used to be like, I want my son to read more. He's always athletics is all he ever does. And now he's like What should I read next? He's asking me for book recommendations. So things come full circle. But there are ways to fill in the gaps from the missing mother, right? Fill in the gaps from the missing father. That's why I wrote Keys to Womanhood, what every young lady should know. My whole intention behind that book was, this is all the stuff that I wish my mother had told me. This is all the stuff I wish my aunties, my grandmother, because I did have women in my life. My father's, my sister, my auntie, my godmother, they raised me at different points. But nobody ever told me all of this. So the menstrual cycle, the engagement with the opposite sex, the sisterhood aspect, your actual body, your anatomy, your reputation, that's all stuff that I wish that a woman had told me. And that's another important thing for us in the collective consciousness. I think there is a large, market of content and books and songs and, and different things that we can create that are a lot more loving and nurturing and empathetic towards the broken family dynamic. Black people are so negative when it comes to, I'm not even going to say single mothers, because we're not going to play that game. Black people are so negative when it comes to the broken family dynamic. And we sit around and we point fingers and we mock people and we talk about the woman who has multiple baby daddies, or, the unmarried, right? All of these different things. Most of this stuff is geared towards women, but I'm just saying, like, our culture is not conducive to, okay, but the children are here. You know what I'm saying? The babies are here though. So where's the village, right? We need to have uncles and aunties and, the ecosystem of the family, that the nuclear family and then the broader family, that's an ecosystem. And then the community, that's an ecosystem. The school, that's an ecosystem, right? So our language, our perspective, just how we handle it is so, you can't fix a conglomerate of broken families that have manifested over a very long period of time with casting, accusations and throwing, you know what I mean? Like that type of spirit. The only way you can right that wrong is through love.
That was kind of broken. I'm sorry.
Finish this thought. The only way you can change the dynamic of that being an ongoing continuity in the collective consciousness is through love. And this is why a lot of our men right now are really struggling. A lot of our conscious, spiritually focused, brothers that are in a certain space within themselves. This is a little bit different. I'm going off topic, but it's relative. A lot of our men right now are really struggling because they won't submit to the divine feminine within. And we had that conversation the other day, whereas you used to, pounding the pavement, protect and serve, that's the modus operandi. But now, like, your heart needs to be softened, and your ability to cater to, or to love, or to serve, or to respect women, females, the divine feminine is not there, because you haven't learned how to properly cultivate that type of love within yourself. So that self-love aspect when it comes to men, all of the brothers listening to me right now and that will listen to this message, if you're struggling in whatever different facets and bumping your head against the wall, yeah, there's something. I've talked to enough brothers and I've seen it enough to know there's something really real happening in terms of our men. It's specifically Black men who are striving to be in alignment or to be conscious on a higher level. So I went off on a tangent, but I think I said what I wanted to say. Ms. Diva, you have the floor. And anybody else that wants to join the conversation, you can email me at info@ZaZaAli.com and I'll send you the link. We have about 28 minutes left just to make sure we're on time, because I'm respecting it's Friday night. You guys probably want to go turn up. Ms. Diva, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the Black love. I feel like Black love, and I don't know. I feel like Black love has been caught up in the matrix. Black love, you talk about the Jezebel spirit. We've talked about, the high value man. I feel like I feel like Black folks coming together, Black men and women coming together for the sake of building a new paradigm of family. Like this matrix broke up our families, broke it up, and turned us, men and women, in of the proverbial us, into, because I don't ascribe to this caricature that they've turned women, Black women and Black men into, to where we, it seems like we do not like each other. And people can be justified in that, because you got your gold diggers, and you got your I need my trophy, and nobody's ever really getting to, like, not nobody, that's not true, because I have, I've seen good Black love that I respect. But many of us on the surface, on the mass level, we're chasing things that are not conducive to fortifying us as a family, a community, and a village. And so it leaves our children out that don't have, you know, that support, where you can have auntie and uncle involved in that, because we've we're turned on each other, because we're chasing the matrix idea of what family is supposed to be. We're warriors, male female warriors, that have to come together to establish the type of family that we want to see,
Yeah.
not what the matrix tells us that we're supposed to be, caricatures of this broken family. Everything now, you don't see the Black family anymore. You see every other aspect of the family on TV, but you don't see the Black family commercials and everything. It's designed to keep us apart. It's our responsibility to find our likeness in that other, that reflection of that male, female in that other, so that we can come together and fortify within our unit and within our community.
Very well said. Let the church say amen. Thank you, Brother Dominic. I appreciate you so much for the love. And this comment was so funny to me. That last walk will be video, and the people in the beginning, the people were just standing in the way. I said, move out the way about 3 or 4 times. You handled it well. Yeah, it's an interesting thing being out in the world like that. And trying to remember what I want to say. And, it's the whole thing. It takes like 5 or 6 different activities in the mind. I observed myself while I was doing it one time, which added another element to this, actually. So the fact that I was observing myself was one observation. And then I was doing like 5 or 6 things at one time, not even consciously, just because. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Jesse said, I've been healing my mother wound through mothering and nurturing my mother who didn't receive that love. That's beautiful, sis. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we have to, whatever it is, even the men, and that lack of father, however that wound expresses itself, whether your father is not in your life for whatever reason, or whether you're a father who's not in your child's life for whatever reason. Even if you got a bad baby mama, I don't care. Even if she took you to court and dragged you, and she's a thought, well, you chose her. You know what I'm saying? If you were not disciplined enough spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and you attracted a thought and brought a life into the world with a woman that is not a good mother, then if she's not a good mother, then that means that you got to step up your game even more, and compensate for whatever that. And it doesn't mean, again, going back to the point, surrounding her by women who are positive influences, surrounding her with content and context, language in the background, videos in the background, right? Images that represent, beautiful, intelligent women that aren't half naked. The music you listen to, you shouldn't be listening, and this goes for everybody, and no pussy popping music when your child is in the car. Stop it. How do all these children know Cardi B's records? I have no clue. Okay, so when we talking about parenthood, like, these are little things that we do that we don't recognize, that are shaping and molding our children in the image and likeness of this world. Some of those things that these females are rapping about in this song, I can't even believe a woman is actually. This is corny to me. Like, you bragging about deep throat, excuse my language, but that's the nice way to say it. You actually saying this out loud, and you don't feel stupid. I don't. Did we stumble into the strip club or on the prostitution? Are we on the track? What's happening here? Now it's like in the. Okay, I'm just being funny. I'm being funny, but yeah, the in terms of the men and the lack of male figures and role models and fathers, and like, it has to be intentional. The only way you can heal that pain, that wounded father energy, the only way you can heal that is through love. Yes, maybe therapy. Yes, maybe being in a manhood group, right? Yes, maybe taking trips and going to places alone and spending time in nature. Yes, doing something like yoga, right? Yes, challenging yourself to be sexually disciplined. But all of those things represent self-love. The only way to heal the wounded father wound energy is through self-love. Just like what Deba was talking about, and just like what I was talking about, the only way to heal, the lack of motherly energy, because a lot of women were raised by their women and never had any emotional connection. I saw somebody else in the comments said that. I was trying to find it. I'll post it up if I can see it. But somebody else talked about having the mother who's there, but she's not emotionally available, right? All that stuff matters. Excessive whoopings are a product of self-hate, I'm convinced. Yeah, my auntie used to get switches off the branches. Now I was savvy enough where I didn't have to have that happen to me a lot. When I was, you know what I mean, in my juvenile delinquent days, so I just wouldn't get caught. But yeah, it was a thing, like, to go grab a branch off of a tree, and everybody we all know, like, that's weird and unacceptable, especially when they used to tie up men that look like our sons and whip them with whips. You know what I mean?
Contributing to our own abuse.
Yes, exactly. And then accepting it in the collective conscious. And I know the Bible says, what is it? Spare the rod, spoil the child, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean spare the rod, like physically, hit your children. You can spare the rod. That the Bible is a book of allegory and symbolism. So in the same way, nobody thinks that Daniel was really in a lion's den staring down lions. That was a symbolic representation. The whole spare the rod thing is a symbolic representation about different ways of, disciplining your children. And that's not to say that there aren't times where, some physical, element of this might play in, even if it's just like having to snatch you up. Because when teenagers, woo, you get to a point where you might have to snatch them up. I've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? And obviously not to hurt them, but just, to kind of reprimand and to reinforce who's in control. Hopefully it doesn't even come to that. But I'm just saying, it's a sliding scale on this stuff. That versus, going outside and getting a tree branch and and whipping your child and then telling them to get in a tub. That's child abuse. That is absolutely child abuse.
But that was the matrix that was given to, even if that was in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child, how
Right.
the Bible was given to us to justify the beatings that we endure, justify the abuse that we endure by captive in slavery, that was a matrix conditioning. And, um it is abuse. And when you have the person that you have somebody that is that loves you, that your source of everything from birth, food, sustenance, protection, is them putting their hands against you and then making you go get the very weapon to abuse you. And then
Right.
when you cry, they tell you to shut up and go sit down. Now you can't even safely express your vulnerabilities and your pain. And we continue to abuse ourselves with this trauma. And now we've internalized and we self-abuse. When we do something wrong, we self-abuse, like we're taking that whip and beating ourselves with our own words and our own, self-condemnation. And that's a hole that we have to dig ourselves out of through love and self, so that we can say, hey, it wasn't right done to me. I shouldn't do it to my kids, and I definitely shouldn't continue to do it to myself, because it's just beating me down even further. And I want to raise up in the likeness of God, and God wasn't whipping me. Somebody who told my mother that this is the way it's supposed to be, You know, my mother told me, why don't I whip my kid? I'm like, I'm not going to whip my kid. I want to be able to have a conversation with her so that she can have a deeper understanding of how to correct her behavior,
Yeah.
not to just beat her just because I don't have the emotional maturity to have that conversation.
Yeah. No, I think I can probably count on one hand the amount of whoopings that my son got. And you know, he went through like a not a terrible two, like a terrible, like from 4 to 6, he was just like a little, like super boy, like doing the most. But you know, I can count on one hand because I recognized early that it was way more effective for me to talk to my son and to express my disappointment in him. Me expressing my disappointment when he did something wrong, and the way that I would talk to him and handle him had a much more profound effect, because he had the ability to snap right back. And so having those type of conversations, he puts it in check. He kind of does his whatever he does within his own mind, and then the issue really kind of gets fixed, you know. So yeah, it's that self-abuse like you talked about. And I remember, and I've said this in videos, like at one point I was reading, or I don't know what it was I was looking at, and the whether it was a book or a video, but the person said, I think it might have been Neville Goddard, that you're always talking to yourself. You're never not talking to yourself. And I was like, damn, you're never not talking to yourself. Even as you guys are sitting here listening to us talk, we got about 6 minutes left, give or take. You're having a conversation with yourself this whole time. Those of you guys in the chat that are sharing, that are tapping in, you're still having a conversation with yourself. So that condemnation, right, and that constant negative reinforcement, right, that constant questioning ourselves, that self-sabotage, that lack of, you know, self-belief. Like in my consultations, what I do is I write down almost everything the person says, and I'm monitoring when I say something, how they come back and what they say. Is it positive and optimistic, or is it negative and downtrodden? And man, if I could do a statistical, you know, culmination of it, evaluation, whatever. I would say like 70% of the people that I've talked to automatically revert to some form of negativity, self-doubt. You know, I'm not low perspective of themselves. I can't do this. I'm not confident. Like in the continuity of the conversation. So just imagine how much a person does that on a day-to-day basis. So we have to be vigilant and mindful right now, especially because think about how much time do you actually have with just only your mind, where you're not listening to music, where you're not listening to YouTube or podcasts, where you're not on social media, where you're not watching TV, where you're not being engaged by some other mind on the internet. Because when you're on the internet, you're always engaging with other minds. It's how it's set up. How much time do we actually have where we're just talking to ourselves, but actually observing how we're talking to ourselves and how we're thinking about ourselves and how we're treating ourselves? So this is going to be like when we talk about the armor of God, this is not the type of stuff that the person normally thinks about when you talk about the armor of God. The condemning yourself with words, lack of proper love and guidance and nutritional language when it comes to yourself. This is how we put on the armor of God on a mental level. So the armor of God has to reflect the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, right? The physical, how do you reflect the armor of God? By taking care of your temple, by doing yoga, by working out, by going out in yoga in nature and hiking and walking, by taking herbs, by doing detoxes, by doing fasts, by, you know, I said fasting, you know, taking care of your inner body the same way you take care of your external body. Because a lot of people go to the gym and want to look good, but aren't thinking about their internal bodies, right? So it's on a mental level, on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, and on a physical level, we have to be cultivating the armor of God. Satan's on 10. Do I need to explain that? I'm being facetious. It's not a real question. But everybody listening knows we're all kind of sitting back, like kind of bracing a little bit right now. If you're paying attention, you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's to the tapped in, high vibrational, all of us. If you are not actually like sitting up a little bit straight right now on January 17th, 2025, right? And so we don't want to be on that bracing, waiting for something to happen, walking on eggshells type frequency. So we have to be on the offensive in all of these areas, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Why? Because the attack is happening mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I've been a witness to it for the last 10 days right here in LA. All 4 aspects of that war have been on 10 in this area. Trump's getting ready to get inaugurated. We talked about the racial energy, the racial dichotomy in America, how, people that like to chew tobacco and that live in campers in Huntsville, Alabama. Nothing wrong with living in a camper. I'm making a joke. The rednecks of the world are starting to feel themselves. So that's one level of it. But then as a Black woman, I could say, well, yeah, but the professional podcasters are too. And they're, they look like me and talk about consciousness and talk about Black power. But then at the same time, they don't like women. So there's a factor to be considered as well. Just like all of the females out here that have, podcasts and contents and they don't like men. How can you be a woman and like men? I don't understand. You got a father, don't you? A grandfather. Please don't have a son. Please don't be a woman who doesn't like men and have a son. Please don't be a man who doesn't like women and have a daughter. Y'all be talking about codes of conduct, and I still haven't seen the code ever. I think the closest thing we've gotten to a code is the one that was constructed by Neely Fuller. Excuse me. I see that word code getting thrown around a lot, but please, if you're a man and you don't like women, don't have a daughter. And vice versa, right? This is how we start to clean up some of this energy. But the armor of God right now is critical. We have to be taking proper care of ourselves. We have to be, fine tuning the type of people that we allow in our inner space, family or not. Going back to the when family is the matrix. None of us should be susceptible to wickedness at this point, post 2024, because our family said or did ... That's no longer a good enough excuse. Because a lot of us, our families completely revealed themselves in 2020. So yeah, I'm gonna love you, but I'm gonna feed you with a 50-foot energetic spoon. Because you know what I'm saying? I've seen you walk with Satan in the last 4 years. I've seen you try to introduce Satan into the conversation in the nature of our relationship, in our conversations, in our experiences. You trying to convince me to put some shit in my body that I know is of the devil? Yeah, we're gonna have a problem. And then the fact that you have a problem with the fact that I have an issue with that. So yeah, that bloodline element in terms of family, if you got a righteous, powerful, beautiful family, then stick with that, lean into that, and share that with the people in your cipher that don't. That's critical. Because you got a responsibility to magnify that energy and that frequency out into the world, especially when it's so greatly lacking. And if you don't come from a family that's supportive and loving and caring and nurturing, then guess what? We got to become that. We got to become that. We have to start in terms of how we talk about family, how we talk about relationships. I see people a lot say family over everything. Well, what does that mean for a person that doesn't have a family? You know what I'm saying? Because God has a family. Okay? Who's God's family? The ones who have on the armor of God. Respectfully. All right? So I'm going to go back through. I done went off. I had a TED talk. Okay? My moment. So I'm going to go back and highlight some of these chat messages real quick. Just to give you guys some love and thank you guys for rocking with us. That part, discernment is key. Love from a distance, 100%. Thank you, Queen Sis. You're a lifeline. East Coast, we're going to turn it down. Love the convo, Deba and Chris. Yeah, Deba and Chris is holding me down. I told them in my membership channel, somebody better show up or it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? I'm going to come in here swinging, not physically, but, I'm going to probably cry. I won't swing. I'll just cry. Given 90 days, the hype and propaganda of Donald Duck will wear off, because an anti-blackness ain't going to reopen all these closed businesses and restore people's immune systems. Fact. 100% facts. That's real talk.
This is a really nice town hall.
Thank you. I have enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it was. I did too. Thank you so much. Do you do this every Friday?
No, I do this once a month. So 4 weeks from now will be the next one. I won't be doing it live on YouTube. I'll be doing it like normal in the membership channel, but the next one will be 4 Fridays from now, where we just come together and chop it up. I'm also going to do the book club meeting live too, so you guys will get a chance to experience that as well. Sheila said, tuning into the present moment, observing nature, taking walks, eating clean, being creative, studying, giving thanks, like really expressing gratitude, etc. That at 100%. And the interesting thing is all of those sort of, what can I call that? All of those things represent the divine feminine, not woman, divine feminine. We're talking about the balance in energy. So men have masculine and feminine energy. The men who are able to elevate to a space of enlightenment or personal power or self-awareness or self-mastery are about an equal balance of masculine and feminine, but the dominant vibration is masculine, right? So I say equal balance. That sounds kind of funny, but no, you really do have to. You're a mental, spiritual, emotional, physical being. All 4 of those aspects have a masculine and feminine counterpart, just like all 4 of those aspects have a higher self and a way of expressing through your higher self and your lower nature. But for a man, the masculine energy is the dominant frequency. For a woman, the feminine energy is the dominant vibration, dominant frequency. That's why so many of us women are having a difficult time right now, because we're tired of carrying all of the weight and we're tired of doing everything by ourselves and on our own. It's out of whack. Just like a lot of men are struggling right now because they really do need love. They really do need compassion. They really do need people around them that care about them for more than just what they do, protecting and providing, right? Look at all of the Father's Day sentiment. Oh, people only care about us one day out of the year, right? They need love. They're telling us they need to be needed. They need to be valued. They need to be appreciated. They need to be focused in on in a deeper, more life-giving, affirming way. This is a fact. Even the suicide rates, right? Okay, so all my brothers paying attention, all my kings paying attention right now. Guess what? In order to attract that, you've got to learn how to give it to yourself. Same thing for women, but it's a totally different story when it comes to men, because this society has completely taken the heart of the average man and put it in a proverbial steel box. And as long as you can keep your heart beating in this steel box and not be hurt and not be disappointed and not be, broken down by the fact that your father or your parents and people didn't care about you and all the stuff all of us have to deal with. So it's caused this neutrality for you and your own suffering. And guess what? This is the paradigm shift where it's not going to work anymore. Men are not going to be able to operate in this world without loving themselves in a healthy, authentic way anymore. Not talking about your wife, not talking about your ability to relate with the opposite sex. It's relative, but just in terms of the male dichotomy right now, that's why a lot of my brothers are struggling right now. So with all of that being said, let me make sure. I got just get a couple of things off: breath work, stretching, recording your own positive affirmations, and listening to them on loop with the app Parrot. Okay, I wasn't familiar with the app Parrot, but that's definitely a bar and a jewel. You guys pay attention to. Well, we should all pay attention to that. I'm not gonna lie. I had a rebellious spirit growing up, and I got disciplined for it. Yeah, most of us did. Meditation is key. Journaling is also a beautiful practice. Yes. My sisters ostracized me for not taking the shot and not wearing the mask. Narcissistic and group thinkers, highly educated, correction indoctrinated. That's a whole word right there, sis. Because most of the lettered, PhD bachelors, masters, right? All of these highly educated people in the world have absolutely let humanity down in the last 4 or 5 years now. Like, we're supposed to give us the tools and the resources or the cures or the fixes to the ills in the world. That's what the people who have these high levels of education are supposed to do, right? You in these industries and you let it happen anyway. So yeah, the having a degree doesn't hold the same sort of weight that it used to. No disrespect to anybody that has degrees, because I have degrees, right? But now the real currency is frequency. Now the real currency is courage. Because how many doctors that took 8 to 10 years to get their doctorates and their licensing and their degrees that are still to this day putting poison in people's bodies? Male and female must become David against Goliath during this season, become Jehu during this season. Whether we're appreciated or not, there is a sense of duty and honor to Yah. Yes, 100%. I'm with you on that. Empathy, courage, and compassion. Absolutely, Queen. I appreciate you. Did you just call me baby? I'm going to give you a second to self-correct. Hard-headed people attract each other. Stop being hard-headed and stubborn and only date compatible people. Exactly. And learn how to be with yourself in the meantime. I say where one cannot find like-minded energy, one should be found alone.
Bar.
Hard-headed. Okay, I read that one already. Yeah, for real, sis. Icebox where their hearts used to be. Facts. I have. Yeah. I don't know where the black men are. I'm a native black woman and I have so much love and juicy energy. Uh-oh, Sheila, somebody finna hit you up. You finna get some
love it. Juice.
You know what I mean? You finna get some activity. Somebody is about to come to your YouTube channel and find some way to address you and to acknowledge you, not only because you're ready for the juicy energy. She said juicy energy. I have so much love and juicy energy to give the black man, but the black men aren't attracting me. Well, I definitely think you should stop saying that. You probably don't say it all the time, but you're probably thinking it. And I know it's hard not to do, right? Because it's the reality on the ground. But I think, the other equation of that is speaking about the type of man you want to attract and then becoming, your sort of alike attraction to that. The qualities you want in a black man, cultivating them in yourself. Not physically, but you know what I'm saying. But I understand a lot of sisters are saying that. It's just it's an unfortunate thing. Watch my language. Yeah, it's all good. She's in Atlanta too. Okay, so I'm gonna come. I'm definitely gonna be in Atlanta too soon. Made me sit up. You see what I'm saying, Sheila? Okay, there we go. Are we doing matchmaker right now? What? Worth the
that's what
she's worth.
I love it.
My brother.
I think we hitting on something here.
Yes. Minimize man-made EMF and environment. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let me make sure I got everybody. You cannot buy wisdom, and none of these universities offer courses on it. That's a fact. And most of the careers in the collective consciousness require you to compromise your true authentic self in a lot of ways. I tell myself I'm needed whether I'm treated as such or not, but I'm also genetically superior, period. Okay, and on that note, I think that we can drop the mic because I'm with you 100% in your superiority of self. I am very happy to have had you guys. I didn't even check and see how many people were watching. We have 155 people watching us live right now. I think that's a beautiful thing because we ain't talking about no weird clown, silly shit. We're talking about the self. We're talking about what's happening in the collective consciousness. We talked about when family is the matrix. We talked about the Trump inauguration and the highly charged racial energy. We didn't really talk about, what was the other thing? The fires in LA, but I've been heavy on that lately. So, just in terms of where we all are with the trauma of it all, that's why I talked about sitting up straight. We really need to be paying attention and fine tuning our spiritual focus. so we can get the downloads when we need to get them, right? So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to my beautiful, beautiful admin. I appreciate you, Queen, for always having my back. Peace, Malik. I didn't see you. I think she's saying she's shouting you out. Malik been dropping jewels all in my comments, so I appreciate you, King. All of the brothers in the chat room and joining us, all of the sisters who are joining us. I appreciate you guys for sharing your energy, your attention, your time. I never, ever, ever, ever take for granted the fact that I can turn my camera on and sit here and have a conversation with you guys. And I'm super grateful for that opportunity. I am right now running a campaign. I'm going to sell 500 passes to my annual membership. 12 months, you get access for $50. Regularly sells for $200, and it's a subscription, but it won't be if you pay the $50. You'll have access to all of this content, my town hall talks, my book club meetings, my walk with me's, my headline news, and all of the other wonderful, amazing, silly, nerdy, conspiratorial, hood, trending topics, all the other stuff that rambles around in my mind, as you guys got a glimpse of in the 7-hour, 40-minute live, where I completely lost track of time and still had 200 people with me the whole time. We had like 360 at the max live. But 200 people stayed with me that whole entire time. I am still blown away by that. If I could give you guys flowers, I would, I promise you. So thank you guys. ZaZaAli.com is my website. January 25th, 2025. I'm going to be in LA as Soul Folks. And I'm opening that up to the public. So I'm going to post information about that in the description and in the comments as well. All right. Thank you to my moderator for holding me down. Thank you for my beautiful membership Partey for joining me. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you beautiful people very, very soon. Peace and love.
Thank you. Peace and love.
Peace and love, sis. Nice meeting you, Chris.